Mr. Conaway. So with that, Mr. Brainstein, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Forbes. I appreciate you letting me sit in on this hearing. And of course, I thank the distinguished panel for being here and answering our questions. General Jones, I had a question for you. You're a pilot, Air Force pilot. Just wanted to ask what kind of aircraft you flew.
Sir, the majority of my time is in F-16s, but then I also flew tankers, AWACS, and J-Stars.
When you flew the F-16, did you have a heads-up display?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you have terrain awareness and collision avoidance equipment inside the F-16?
Yes, sir. You had a line in the sky you could set for awareness.
And then how about when you talk about your heads-up display, you probably had some navigation equipment, VOR, TACAN, ILS equipment integrated with the heads-up display?
Yes, sir, I did.
Were these systems beneficial for the safety of your aircraft and for you personally?
Yes, sir, particularly in a single-seat aircraft.
Absolutely. See, the thing that I have seen here in Congress, we have authorized funding for the avionics modernization program for C-130H. We've not only authorized the funding, we have appropriated the funding. We did that for fiscal year 2012. Authorized, appropriated, went to the Pentagon, and the money never got obligated. We did it in 2013. Authorized, appropriated, went to the Pentagon, never got obligated. 2014, we explicitly passed in the NDAA a prohibition on the cancellation of C-130 AMP. This is personal for me. I'm a Navy pilot myself. I have flown aircraft that have modern cockpits, and I have flown aircraft that have not so modern cockpits. And I have seen that within the Department of Defense as a whole, we have, it seems, airplanes that have propellers don't get the fancy cockpits, but airplanes that have jets do get the fancy cockpits. In the reserves and the National Guard, they don't get the fancy cockpits, but in the active component, they do get the fancy cockpits. This seems to be a trend not just in the Navy, but also in the Air Force. And this is a challenge that I'm going to take very personally, because the safety of our air crew goes across all branches, and it goes, throughout the different components of the branches. And I just want to hear what your commitment is to obligate the funds to make sure that AMP actually becomes a program that gets implemented in the cockpits. And I would also say that the airplanes that I've flown, you get into different airplanes and you have all different configurations of avionics, different software within the multifunction displays, and we need standardization across the fleet. What AMP does is it standardizes C-130 cockpits for the National Guard and for the Reserve. And I would just like to hear your commitment to that.
Sir, so a couple of things I'd like to address. First of all, I want to express my appreciation for your commitment to ensure the safety of our airmen, and I thank you for your service previously as well, and that's something that we all remain very concerned about. So, sir, as you may be aware, the AMP program has a number of elements to that. One of it is to make sure that we maintain viable and national airspace and international airspace for RKO. And then there are some avionics glass cockpit, and sir, I know you're well aware of all those. So the first thing that we need to do, sir, is I know you're aware of the IDA study, and we're waiting for the results of the GAO study. And once we get that study, that'll enable us to move out on whichever program, whichever path we take.
Well, hold on real quick, because if the funds are authorized and explicitly appropriated for this specific purpose, and it goes to the Pentagon, and then you don't obligate the funds, do you really need to do a study?
So, sir, what we're trying to do is figure out the best way to meet the Air Force total requirements for our nation.
And you realize that by studying the best way, you're intentionally going around the will of Congress.
Sir, what we're trying to do is maximize the capability for our nation. So if I could have just 1 second, sir. So, as I mentioned before, the HUD is critical, I thought, as a single-seat pilot. But for the $2.63 billion, as we look in this fiscally constrained environment, and particularly as we go back to the law of the land and go back to that hard VCA level, sir, I've also flown airplanes that don't have a HUD, the rivet joint, the AWACS, the tanker. And in a crew environment, there is the ability to cross-check, and sir, I know you're well aware of that. And so in the hard choices that we're all faced to make in this fiscal environment, as we go across the entire spectrum that we have to go through, would we like to do it? So there's a number of programs that we would like to do. But we're forced in this environment to figure out what are the hard choices that we get.
But real quick, there are no choices here. The money has been appropriated specifically for that purpose. There's no real choice in this matter. I yield back. I'm out of time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But the gentleman's question's a good one. One of the things that we're experiencing with all the services is it's almost a separation of power situation. But when Congress does, as the gentleman mentioned, not only authorize but appropriate something, and then we hear the services come back and we're finding out whether we want to use it or not, that doesn't bode well. And so we'll be looking at stronger language this time for this and other issues the same way to make sure that we don't lose that process. Not faulting you guys, but maybe you can take that message back over to the big house. And Mr. John